So SAP user management. So in the SAP level, how to create the users. In SAP level, how to create the users. Then how to log the user, how to unlock the user, how to change the passwords. So all those things we'll discuss high level today. Normally, every organization, they have own security team. Every organization, they have own security team. They will handle the all the user administration security, a kind of security related activities here. Means users creation, password reset, like user unlock, lock, and also audit configurations, all those things, roles, so roles assigning, all those things. So the security team will take care of all those things here. Security team will take care of the all those things here. Security team will take care of the all those things here. User administration. So as part of the user administration, so we will discuss about the how to create the users, and also basis also should be required some concepts here in the as part of the user administration here, right? SU01, so SU10, right? So SU01D, so and SU53, and so SM19, SM20. So these all comes under the user administration. Then we need to go to the role maintenance, the PFCG, all those will come. So here you see, first of all, we'll go with the how to create the users in SAP, right? So if you go to the SU01 is the transaction code here. SU01 is the transaction code here. Here we can create the users here. Suppose let's put the username here. Let's put the username here. Just click on the create button here, right? So Ravi user already exists here. Just click on the one button here. Then you need to fill the form here. What is the Mr.? Then what is the last name of the user? First name of the user. Maybe if you want to fill all the mandatory things, we have to fill it. So in the organization, email ID is the mandatory to give the email ID here, right? Just give the email ID. Then company also will be populated here. What is the organization, right? Then go to the logon data. Here we have the user alias name. So if any alias name for the users, we can give it here. Any alias names, then we can give it here. So, and also we have the user type, user types here in SAP here. So types of users in SAP here, types of users in SAP here. So here in SAP, we have the total 5 types of users here in SAP here. 5 types of users in SAP here. 5 types of users in SAP here. One is the dialogue user. Dialogue user. The second one is the system user. Then third one is the service user. Second one is the service user, system user, service user. Then the fourth one is the communication user. Communication user here. Then the fifth one is the reference user. Reference user here. So there are the 5 types of users. While creating this pop-up will come into the picture here, right? So what does it mean? What does it mean, this all these users here? So dialogue user. So see here, when you are creating the user in SAP, when you are creating the user in SU01, there is a type of users here. So dialogue user, system user, communication user, reference user, service users here. So here, let's talk about some more information about the dialogue user. So dialogue user means it's a regular user. Regular means we, means dialogue process will take care of our request, right? We will log in from the SAP GUI, or we will log in from browser. So those users are called the dialogue users. Regularly we will log in to the SAP systems. So here it is used for the all the logon types. So one person, they can log into the SAP system, means using the SAP GUI, means logon is possible. Logon is possible. So during this logon, user has to enter the password, expired password or initial password. He has to enter it. Then only you can log into the SAP system. So these users are used for carrying out the standard transactions, interactive type of users here. So multiple logons, and so they can log into the SAP system here. These are the dialog user. So here I'm creating the Ravi one user in SAP system. So which means I have to log in, then I have to use the transactions, and also I need to do the monitoring everything. I am logging with the SAP GI means I am the dialog user. I am the dialog user here. I am the dialog user here, right? So that's why I am the dialog user. Then when to create system user here? System users are non-interactive users. Non-interactive users means, so background jobs such as in the RFC communication, in the background jobs, workflow, TMS configurations. So this type of configurations, we will use the system user. Means, so I'm creating the Ravi one user not to log into the SAP system for the internal communication purpose. Like suppose I want to non-interactive user. Suppose I want this user should be used in the RFC destinations. I want this user should be in the workflow. I want this user should be in the TMS configurations. So I want to RFC destinations. So means here this user cannot change their passwords. Why? Because he cannot log in. He cannot log in from the SAP GUI. So he cannot log in from the SAP GUI. He can only use the, so just to system internal communication purpose means system to system communication. I mean to say system to system communication purpose, we will use the system user here. They are the non-interactive users. Right? It's not the interactive users. Non-interactive users means dialog or process, it won't take the responsibility here. Dialog or process, it won't take the responsibility to do this work here. That's why that type of users we can create as a system user. System users here. System internal communication purpose, we will use the system user. So the next one is the service user. Service user means, so the system does not check for the here. Service user means the user can log in with user ID and password same as like dialog user, but he cannot log out. So means there is no locking, some restriction, some restricted authorization, some restricted authorizations here. The system will not check whether the password expired or not. Service level, I mean to say service level, we can use the service level, we can use the service user. System internal communications, we will use the system user. Dialog user, to log into the SAP system with the user ID and the password, the user should be a dialog user, right? Dialog user here. So the communication user means, so it's like, so dialogue free communication between the systems. So between the systems, system to system, between the system, they want to communicate. So that's why communication user, between the system to system communication purpose, right? RFC destinations, we will use the system user. System to system communications, we will use the communication user here. So reference user means is like reference user also like a service user. Reference user also like a service user. In general, reference user also cannot log in. Only dialog user can log into the SAP system. Remaining 4 users cannot log into the SAP system here. Reference user means if the user is required some additional authorization, that's why we can use the, so for this user, X user does not have required authorization, he want reference user, then he can use the reference user to get the same level authorization and everything here. Same level authorization and everything. So normally this we won't use these all those three. Only either dialog user or system user. These most popular user types are this one. You no need to worry about the last three, right? If anyone asks you, just you can simply tell like, instead of your confusion, service level communication, service level user. In the system services, we will use the service users, right? Communication user, system to system communication between and reference user. So when current user does not have enough authorizations, he can take the reference user, then he can carry out the all the work here. Only dialogue users are having the initial passwords to log into the SAP system. Then only dialogue users, not the none of the users, only dialogue users having the initial passwords to log into the SAP systems here. So the same way, I am creating the Ravi as a dialogue user. Then I am just setting the initial password here. Initial password I am setting here. You can see initial password here. If any group, if this user is belongs to the certain basis group or security group, then we can use the basis or security. So validity from and to. The user is valid only from today's to and only tomorrow. Then if you provide this validity from date and to date, we can only tomorrow 8 after 12, after 24 hours, this user will be expired. Then the user cannot log into the SAP system. If you have any account number, cost center, then you can provide the user account number and cost center for the payments purpose, right? You can use this one, right? He is the dialogue user. Then SNC, if it is SNC is configured, you can use the SNC, otherwise you can leave empty. Then default here. How the user logon language is English, right? Then if it's the German user, we need to select the German. If it's the different Arabic user, then different some on the Thai languages, we can set the different language logon users here. Then how you want to navigate the users? First you want to full stop, decimal notification, then commas or commas and this one. How you want to date format for the user? First DD, MM, YY or first month DD, MM. How you want to log in? So 24 hours format. Do you want to any dedicated printer? Yes. Then assign the one dedicated printer to the Ravi user, right? So system time zone, Ravi system time zone is the CET, but user time zone is the India. So like that, some this defaults, these are the optional, all are the optional, right? You can set it out the parameters. Here roles creation, role means user is okay. User can log in. After that, what level authorizations he can perform. Immediately you won't get the full authorizations to the system. Here, depending upon the role means authorization. You will be connected to the SAP system. Let's see here. I'm not assigning any authorizations here. Ravi1 user is created in the SAP system here. Let's go to the SAP ECC. Then let's log in with the Ravi1 user. Then just you can enter the initial password. Then it will ask the new password. Then you can set the new password here. Then you are logged into the SAP system here. You are logged into the SAP system here. If you use any transaction code, you will get the authorization error. If you use any transaction code, you will not navigate. Even you cannot open any transaction code, which means user only created in here. User are created. You are only created the user here. Means you created only user, but you have not assigned any authorization, any role. Who is this user? First of all, what level of access you have assigned to him. So here the roles will tell us what activities you need to perform. The role will tell us what is your current designation in the company. So these roles will be created by the security only, but which roles are related to the basis, which roles are related to the L1 monitoring team, administrative team, that related roles we have to assign it to the respective team here. We have to assign to the respective here. We have to assign to the respective user here. You created the user. This user is belongs to the which one? So those related roles we have to assign it to the here. So before we go ahead and discuss about the role management, here we have the some tabs we will discuss about this one here, right? User you created, right? So sometimes due to the wrong password, user will lock, right? You see now user is okay, is logged into the system now. Now I will use the wrong passwords to log into this user here. See, immediately the user will be locked here. User will be locked here. Maybe there is a 4 times or 5 times. If I use the wrong password, user will be locked here. Then 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, So third time I used it here 3 times. Let me try to log in with the again same. Again, if I use the same, right? 4, 5, 6, I think 6 attempts, right? So after the 6 attempts, 5 attempts, then when you log into the 6th attempt, then your password no longer possible. Too many attempts failure, which means your user got locked here. Your user got locked here. Pass1 logon not possible here. You cannot log into the SAP system here, which means you used the wrong password 5 times. Then you are locked now. You are locked now. In this case, what we have to do, you need to unlock. Means you need to request your security team to unlock the password. Then they will go to the SU01 transaction code. They will check here whether user is locked or not. Yes, user is locked. Then we can unlock it. If you unlock it, this is our responsibility. We can unlock it. Then if we just unlock, then user can log into the respective password now. See here, now we logged into the system. So in case of user is locked, we can unlock it. We can unlock it by using the unlock button here, right? If we want to delete the user, we can just click delete the user. We want to reset the password. If we want to reset the password here, we want to reset the password here. If you want to reset the password, we can reset it. If you want to reset the password, we can just reset the password of the user here, right? Sometimes user will forget the password. Then we will ask you to reset the password. We can reset it. We can reset the passwords here, right? So if you want to lock the password or unlock the password, we can unlock it. So we can copy the user. Using this user, you want to copy the other user, then just you can click it out. Then from user is this one, to user is this one. Then you can create the user here. You can just create the user here. Same user, Ravi1 having same group, same roles, same address, everything will come into the here. So Ravi2 user is created. Just copied from the existing user. Creation only it will take the time, but copying very simple here, right? So this is the way here. We want to change anything here, you can change it here, right? So this way we can, if you want to delete, we can delete the user here. So if you want anything, you can, the user is deleted here. So like this, we can create it here, right? So the one more thing is here, we should remember. So whenever, so if any user is locked or if you want to do the some troubleshooting here, you can see in the information, there is a change docs for users. Change doc for user here, which means all this users related information, history, all the information, all the history will be displayed here. All the information will be displayed here. Let's see. So what exactly happened with this user? So just click on the select it from which date to which date. Then all the selection criteria, you can select it. Just click on the execute button here. Then you will get the all the information for this user here. So all the information you will get out from the information from the user here. All the information you will get from here, right? Ravi1 user. So suppose just if you take the basis user, then you will get the some information about the all these users here. All the information we will get. And also we have enabled the auditing, right? In SM19 we discussed. In SM19 we can see the audit policies we have enabled to track the users, what he deleted, why he deleted, what the information and everything. So here we created, right? So in SM20 you can go ahead and you can see the user name here. What is the user? Suppose Ravi1 user. I want to check the Ravi1 user related details here. Ravi1 related details I want to check here from here. So maybe I need to no data found. So it is not tracked here. So if I let's change the timelines to the 0000. No data. So data is not tracked till now here. So data is not tracked. So in the auditing policy also here, in the auditing policy also, what we can do, so we can enable the auditing here. We can enable it here. So that when you enable the audit policies here, what will happen here? If any user is doing something here, suppose deletion, copying and everything here, that will be logged here. As part of the auditing, it will be displayed. As part of the auditing, everything will be displayed here. Everything will be logged here. Everything will be displayed in the system here. So that is what the auditing responsibility, auditing policies here. Audit policies here. You can see here SM19, SM20 here. So if you want to log the users, if you want to log the users here, you can see here, you can log the user, unlock the user. If you want to change the password, we can change it here. So if you want to create the user, you can create the user here. But user you created, but what level of access you assigned here? What level of access you have assigned to the user here? Suppose this is the Ravi1 user, I guess. Let me check here. Yeah, Ravi1 user. You just created the user is logged into the system, but you don't have access to the any one of the transaction code in the system, which means you just created the user, you have not assigned any roles. You have not assigned any roles in the system here. So that time, how to create the roles then here? How to create the roles? How to create the roles in the system here? So the role is authorization, authentication with email ID password is authenticating. Then after that, what level of access we are giving here? What level of roles? Then authorization we are giving here. What level of roles and authorization we are giving here? Then here we can use the PFCG transaction code here. But before we go for the PFCG transaction code, SU01 is for the single user creation. But if we go to the SU10, here the mass users, bulk users, we can create it here. Bulk users, I can create it here, like basis 1. At the same time, I can create the n number of users. Suppose hundreds of users, I can create at the same time here, right? So this is the way I can just click on the create button. All users by the default password, all will be generated. See here, all users are 5 users are created, and also the password also generated. The password also see differently generated here, differently generated. When the system generates, it will use this password here, right? When we create, we set the manual password. When system generates, it will use these many different combination passwords. It will set it out here. So we have to initially log in. Whenever you create any bank account or anything, then you will get the initial password to your email. Same way here also, the initial password you will get it out from here. Then in this using this password, we can log into the SAP system here. Yes, we can log in. Let me take to the basis 1 user here. Then user got created. Let's log into the SAP system here. Then I will go to the basis 1. Then I will provide the same copy paste password. Then it is asking the new password. New password. Then I set the new password here. New password is created here. Then new user is created here. Right? So I logged into the basis 1 user now. Basis 1 user now. So in this way also, we can create the bulk password, bulk users, we can create it here. Bulk users, we can create it here. So this is the one. So also bulk level, we can log all the users also here. If you log all the users, all users will be locked. All users will be locked here. We can also do this kind of work here, right? So this is the one for user creation and mass user creation. SU01, SU10 here, right? So SU01D is the display operation. SU01D means display authorization. Only display. You want to see whether user is locked or not. Only display access you will get from here. That is called the SU01D here. SU01D is the display authorization you will get from here. SU01D display authorization you will get from here. Okay. So here, but after that you got it. Then if you go to the any transaction code, so any transaction code, it won't work. Why? Because here you are not authorized to use the transaction here. Means the role, the respective role, the designation is not assigned to the your queue here. It's not assigned to you. That is the reason. That is the reason. So it is not assigned to you. Okay. That is the reason it is not assigned to you. So in this case, what we can do here, so the role, now let's discuss about the role creation now here, role creation here. So then SAP PFCG, the role and authorization concept, role and authorization concept here. Okay, role and authorization concept here. So shall I discuss, or will you continue to practice the SU01 transaction, SU10 transaction code? Shall I complete this one also?
Yes, sir, complete it.
Okay. So the role and authorization concept here. So role means it's a role depends upon the your designation in the company, the related authorizations, the related role will be assigned to you. To manage the roles and authorization, we can use the PFCG transaction code in the SAP level to create the role or to adjust the role and authorization. We can use it here. So the fine tuning, the everything, we can use it here. Using the PFCG, we can maintain the roles, authorizations, profiles recommended to use for this user, not to for the wider access, not to create the client. Suppose we want to restrict the client creation, then we can use the roles. So some roles authorization concept, we can use it here. So by default, there are some roles are delivered by SAP centrally. So if you want to use SAP related roles, you can just go to the PFCG transaction code. In the PFCG transaction code, so PFCG transaction code here, then you can see the related roles here. Related roles, you can see it here. How many roles are there? You can see there are the multiple number of roles are there here. This will come as part of the SAP standard here. This will come as part of the SAP. This will come as part of the SAP so installation. As part of the SAP installation, this all these roles will come. So that's why SAP related roles, right? That's why it comes with the SAP underscore. SAP underscore. Suppose if you want to create the custom roles, means our own defined roles, then we need to use the Z star or Y star. We have to use it the naming convention while creating the roles here, right? While copying or while choosing the roles, we have to use the Z star and Y star for the customer namespace, customer roles. That is what the SAP recommendation here. SAP recommendation here. So now let's discuss about the how to create the role. How to create the role, how to assign the role to the user here. How to create the role, how to assign to the users here. In the PFCG transaction code, if you go to the PFCG transaction code, then you will get the role like this here. Here, now let's talk about the Z underscore, the basis underscore money transaction code, some monitoring. Suppose for monitoring users, I'm going to create the one role called the Z underscore. Just click on the single role here. Then the role is created here. Just click on the role is created here, right? The role is created here. In the menu option, if you go and see the menu option after the save changes, you can see the transaction here. You can see the transaction here. In the transaction field here, in the transaction field, we can enter the what are the transactions we should assign to the user. What are the transactions we should assign to the users? Then normally monitoring means SM51, then SM66, then ST22, then SM21. This, right? So these are the transactions we have to assign to the users. So many we have to assign it. For now, just a few assign it to the users here. Just assign it the few to users here. Then click on the save button here, right? So these are the 6 transaction codes I have assigned to check the monitoring of the users here, right? Then go to the workflow here, right? So then if it is a workflow configured, you can assign the workflow. Otherwise, just ignore it. then go to the authorization. Let's not give the authorization here. Okay, don't give the authorization here. Let's try to assign this to the users now. Go to the SU01 transaction code. Now you created the one role, just Ravi one user you created. I want to assign that role to this user. Go to the roles tab. There is a Z underscore basis user here. You want to assign this monitoring role to this user. Which user? So Ravi one user is the monitoring user. He newly joined the organization, is the monitoring user. Now I will ask user to monitor now. Now I will ask user to monitor in the system. So let's log out and log in with the Ravi user now. Okay. So now if I go, so suppose if I go to the SM50, still I have the authorization issue. If I go to the ST22, still I have the authorization issue. If I go SM21, still I have the authorization issue. Still, if I go to Y means you have, even though you have assigned the roles, even though you assigned this related transaction codes to the role. T codes you created, then assigned it to the role here. But you have not assigned any authorization. You have not assigned any authorization here. So that is the reason, even though you assigned the role to the user, he is unable to perform. He is unable to perform anything here because of you have not assigned anything to the users here. Now let's go to the authorization concept here. So this authorization will restrict the access. Even though you have not assigned, even though you have assigned the roles, the related roles menu, then your authorizations are important. Just create the profile. Profile will be created. Then just go scroll down here, change the authorization data here. Change the authorization data here. Just click on the OK button. Then here you can see the authorizations. Here you can see the transactions related authorizations here. So transactions, these are the transactions are assigned. So this will get confused. The authorizations will get confused to you. The authorizations will get confused to you. Authorizations will get confused here. Why? Because so this is the authorization concept is something like, so any transaction code you cannot access here. It's a more like security persons will do this kind of work here. You don't need to worry about. Even though you have assigned the role, in this role, you have the authorization, then even though you are unable to assign, unable to use it. So why? Because here, no authorization. Just you have access to the system, but no authorizations to access it here. So again, just try to log in again. Let's see whether you will get anything here, right? SM50, no. ST22, no. Then SM51, no. Why? Even though roles are assigned. So here authorization is not maintained here. Go to the expert change, then go to the standard here. Just click on the manually, then provide the authorization object here. Just to provide the authorization object here. They are the multiple authorization object. The related object we have to assign it to the user. Authorization object, right? Authorization object we have to assign to the users here. Authorization object here. If you don't need that type of in-deep level knowledge, just we'll discuss about the respective transaction code. What is the authorization object? What is the authorization object here? So if you go to SU25 transaction code here, it will display the authorization steps here. So the steps, so all those things you will get from here. So how can I get each transaction code? What is the object here? The transaction codes are assigned to the role, even though I am unable to access, because it means the respective authorizations are not added here. Respective authorization object we have to add it to the here. So if you are getting confused, just ignore it. Just ignore it here. Why? Because this is purely security teamwork. This is purely security teamwork here, security work here. So they are the responsible to create it. They are the responsible to use these things and everything. So if you are getting confused here, just ignore it here. Just ignore it here. All this information, ignore it here. So this is the profile generator. You don't need to use now. Just there is a transaction code to check the authorization object. So SU19, not the 19, SU24. Yes. So this is the one transaction code here to check the respective. So suppose you want to get the SU50 authorization object. You want to respect to authorization object here. Just click on the OK button. Then related object you will get from here. Related object you will get from here. So here this way we can find out the respective each transaction code. What is the respective authorization object here? Each transaction code. What is the respective object? Because you can see n number of transaction codes, n number of authorization objects depends upon our selection. You can see the n number of authorization objects here. So here we cannot find out. There is some different one. So we cannot find out here. So here you will get the right one. If you search it S_ADMI, you will get the respective thing here. Based on that, we can find out the, so what is the transaction code? This one. This is the one transaction code. Otherwise, if you go to there is a one more transaction code, SU21. Is it? Not this one. Here also we can find out the authorization object. Here, that's why security is the separate group, separate thing to discuss. So that is the reason. So we no need to worry about here. Every organization, there is a separate security team. So they will take care of the authorizations, roles, user IDs creation, security things, all those things they will take care of here. They will take care of all those things in the systems here. So that's why you no need to worry about all those things here. They will take care. They will do all the work and everything. They will do it here. So that's why we no need to worry about here. So that's why just for our understanding purpose, just you can remember some transaction codes here. So SU01. So then few things you can assign to the here. Then you will get the related data you will get from here. What is the respective role here? What is the respective authorization role here? You will get the respective fields here. So all those things you will get from here, right? So based upon that, you can, this is the object. Based upon the transaction code, you will get the related authorization object you will get from here. Based upon the authorization object you will get from here. Based upon the transaction code and respective authorization object you will get from here. Suppose let's take this is the authorization object. Okay, let's go to the here. Just click on this button. Here give the authorization object _develop. Then here we can just add the, so what is the activity you are going to do? What is the package? So this is for the development related workbench package here. So then same as like if you want to run the background job, just you can use the SM36. You can use this one. You can use this one here. We want to transport related, you need this authorization objects here. You need SE61 access, you need this one here, right? So each transaction code, you need HR transaction code, you need this one here. You need system authorization, you need this one here. So FCD system authorizations, you need this one here. So like that, depends upon your activity, you need to assign the respective authorization objects you have to assign to the user here. So this is the basis administration related. Basis administration related here. So you need to assign the basis administration related. You need all the access or full access, what level access you required. Select it, click on OK button, then generate it. Okay, just generate it here. means what level of authorizations you have to assign to the role. So all those things you can generate it, right? So go back. So now save the role here. So now you can just, this one we are getting the error, right? Now go back, log out, just to log in with the user now. Now just you can try to access. So let's see whether you are able to access or not here, some transaction codes here. So then if you are unable to access, then what is the error again? What is the error you are facing here? So then we need to check the authorizations again here. Need to check the authorizations. Go to the SE53. So related user. So which means Ravi1 user. So Ravi1 user. So what is the authorization is facing here? All the information you will get from the system here. All the information you will get from the system here. So this is the way we need to restrict the access. We need to restrict the access here. So what level of access is required? Organization level or company level. So organization level. So all kind of so things we can use it here. All kind of things we have to assign to the from here. Based upon the transaction code, the respective authorizations we have to assign to the user here. Respective authorizations we have to assign to the user here based upon the transaction code. So what authorization object is related to the each person. So those authorization objects we have to assign to the user. So this is the way we can find out. So this user is belongs to the, so which role in this role, is there any authorization objects are assigned or not? Authorization objects are assigned or not? So we have to assign to the here. So that is the one. Here we can find out the SAP related in SU in SU22 or 21. We can find out the authorization objects here. In here we can find out the authorization objects. We can, sorry, in SU22 or 21 we can find out the respective authorization objects. We can find out based upon the transaction code. So based upon the transaction code, suppose SM50, the user is unable to access the SM50 transaction code. You want to know what is the related authorization object here. If you go to the SM50, you can see the SM50 related authorization object, SM50 related object here, right? S underscore ADMI underscore this one, right? So the same way here also we can check the backgrounds related thing, right? Background job monitoring, CTMS, the remaining means this transaction code associated, there are the multiple authorization objects are there here. So all those things, so we have to assign, or so there is a only dedicated thing we have to assign. Then you can assign the dedicated thing, you can assign to the user S underscore ADMI. You have to go to the PFCG transaction code. Just to go to the PFCG transaction code. So there, just click on the edit button, go to the authorization, right? Just go to the authorization here. Then, so go to the change authorization data, click on OK button. Right? So then assign the S underscore ADMI, S underscore, this is the one, ADMI. So this is the S underscore ADMI transaction, ADMI underscore FTD. So what transactions? So what he has to perform, all the things I have assigned the full authorizations to the here. So then you can perform the all those things from the here. If you want to another thing, you can also assign to the another thing also, you can assign to the user here. So that is the reason we have assigned these things. So authorizations are very important based upon the object. So these authorizations are very important to assign to the users here, right? So that is the one thing here we should be required here, right? So here directly we can assign it to the user, or and also go to the PFCG. There also we can assign to the user here. Directly we can assign to the here, or go to the PFCG. We can assign SU01. We can go to the SU01. There is a role tab. There also we can assign. There is a role tab. There also we can assign to the user here, right? So this is the way we can assign now. Now see, After the ADMI, after I am assigning this system authorizations related object to the which role, this is the role, Z basis and this role is assigned to the which user, Ravi1 user. After assigning this user to the Ravi1 user, now he is able to perform all those things now. See here, he is able to perform all those things now. See here, he is able to perform all the transaction codes as he is able to access. Previously, you are not authorized to use something like that. We got it. Now he is able to access all the transaction codes. How? Which user? I mean, Ravi1 user. Now, how I am able to log in? So for my user, there is a role assigned. For my user, if we go to the display mode, there is a role concept. There is a Z basis underscore money user is given. Role is given. So this role having restrictions of using the dedicated transaction code. If you go to the PFCG, this role having the restrictions of using the only few transaction codes, only these transaction codes. So this user can only use these transaction codes, not the other transaction codes here, not the other like I can say other transaction codes like SACK, but because SACK not added, then he is getting the error. Now, if I use the SM21, he can access it. Why? Because SM21 I have added, right? So work process or system logs I have added. So SACK I have not added here. So that is the reason. That is the reason for role we have to assign for each role we have to assign the related transaction code. So which means security team, when you build the system, when you assign the system to the security team will create the bulk roles. Means basis one role, security one role, users one role, purchase departments one role, like that multiple roles they will create it. So whenever the new user joins, then immediately they will create the user, then they will assign the respective role to the user so that user will test it, then you can access only that particular transaction codes only, not the other transaction codes. Why? Because your responsibility to check only monitoring only. So you have to check only these 5 transaction codes only, not all the transaction codes, right? So that is the reason we have to assign these roles to your user here. So these roles and everything we can control from the PFCG transaction code. PFC is the transaction code where we can create the roles here. Roles here we can create it here, single roles. Then composite role means multiple single roles we can club into the one composite role here. Multiple single roles we can club into the multiple roles. All the multiple roles we can club into the one single role. That is called the composite role here. So that is the rare cases. But role creation is we have to do it in the PFCG. The related authorizations we have to assign from the here. So go to the menu users. So all those things we have to assign to the users here. That is the one thing here. It should be remembered. Okay. So that is the role creation, security creation. Don't invest your much time on the roles part, authorization part. You will get confused. Why? Because it's purely security team responsibility to create it. So they will take care of the all kind of work and everything here. So you don't need to worry about this one. Just if you know the transaction codes, that's it. Okay. You don't need to worry about this one. Why? Because for your experience, it does not require much experience on this level. Okay.